Farming saved humanity. That's what they told us. Civilization, progress. The big leap forward. Except that's completely wrong. Hunter-gatherers worked 15 hours a week. They were taller, healthier, and had zero bosses. Then farming showed up, and we got rotten teeth, back-breaking labor, and some guy called a king taking our grain. So why did anyone agree to this? Here's the thing. Nobody did. Picture the best version of your life. No alarm clock, no commute, no inbox. You wake up when you want. You spend a few hours finding food. And honestly, it's basically a walk through nature with a spear. Then you're done. The rest of the day is yours. Hang out with your crew. Tell stories, sleep. That wasn't a vacation. That was Tuesday for about 300,000 years. Here's what the bones tell us, and bones don't lie. Hunter-gatherers were on average 2 to 3 inches taller than the first farmers. Their teeth were clean. Their skeletons show almost zero signs of repetitive stress injury. These people were not struggling. They were thriving. Their diet was insane, in a good way. Dozens of different plants, fruits, roots, nuts, wild game, fish, shellfish. No single food dominated. That variety meant their bodies got everything they needed. Vitamins, minerals, protein, and socially flat as a pancake. Nobody owned land. Nobody had more stuff than they could carry. If someone in the group tried to act like a big shot, the group just ignored them or left. Anthropologists actually have a name for this. They call it reverse dominance hierarchy. Basically, the group actively kept anyone from getting too powerful. Built-in checks and balances. No HR department required. This wasn't primitive. This was a system refined over hundreds of thousands of years. It worked really well, and then we threw it in the bin. Okay, so farming arrived, and at first glance, it seems fine. You grow your own food. You stay in one place, you build something. Stability, right? Wrong. Let's start with your body. The moment population switched to farming, skeletons got shorter, bones got weaker, and the teeth, oh, the teeth. Wheat and barley are loaded with sugar and starch. You chew that stuff all day with no toothbrush and no dentist, and your mouth becomes a biological disaster zone. Archaeologists can literally tell when a population switched to farming just by looking at their teeth. Then there's disease. Here's a fun fact. Almost every major infectious disease in human history came from animals. Smallpox from cows, flu from pigs and birds, measles from cattle, and farming put humans right next to all of them. You're sleeping near your livestock. Your kids are playing in the same mud as the chicken. Congratulations, you just built the world's first disease factory. Now let's talk about the workload. Forget the 15-hour week. Farming is relentless. Plowing, planting, weeding, irrigating, harvesting. And if the rain doesn't come, or comes too much, you starve. Hunter-gatherers had bad days. Farmers had bad years. Entire catastrophic seasons with nothing to eat. And here's where it gets really dark. Surplus crops need to be stored. Stored crops need to be protected. Protection needs organization. Organization needs someone in charge. And whoever controls the surplus controls everything. That's where kings come from. That's where taxes come from. That's where your boss comes from. One single idea, owning the harvest, and suddenly you have inequality, hierarchy, and someone telling you what to do for the rest of your life. Farming didn't just change what humans ate, it changed what humans were. So here's the question that's been sitting in the back of your head this whole time. If farming was so bad, why did anyone do it? And this is where it gets genuinely interesting. The most popular theory is population pressure. After the last ice age around 12,000 years ago, the climate warmed up fast. Forests expanded, rivers shifted. The big game animals that hunter-gatherers relied on started disappearing, either from hunting or climate change or both. And the human population kept growing. At some point, foraging just wasn't enough to feed everyone anymore. Farming wasn't a choice, it was a last resort. But here's the sneaky part. It didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, painfully, generationally gradual. Maybe 1 year a group plants a few seeds near their camp, just as a backup. The next generation does it a little more, then a little more. Each generation is slightly more dependent on crops than the last. And at no point does anyone sit down and say, right, we're farmers now. It just happens, slowly, like a trap closing in slow motion. And by the time the trap is fully shut, you've got too many people, too many permanent settlements, too much infrastructure to ever go back. You're locked in forever. Sound familiar? You didn't choose the 9 to 5 either. You were just born into a world where it was already the only option. Every generation inherits the cage the previous one built and calls it normal. That's the real legacy of the agricultural revolution. Not wheat, not cities, not civilization. The normalization of a deal nobody actually agreed to. Ziggy out.